Here are 20 Fortnite tips that I wish I knew sooner. Number 1, play confidently. Now most videos already tell you to play like this, but how do you actually learn to get confidence? If you hop into a game and tell yourself that you're the best player and you're gonna drop a 20 kill dub, but don't have the skills to back it up, then you're gonna subconsciously believe that you're not good enough, because deep down you know that you're not actually good. So how do you fix this and how do you actually gain confidence? By getting experience and through repetition. To get confidence through experience, you have to play as many 1v1s as you possibly can. You can do this by either playing ranked reload or playing a lot of 1v2 clutch realistics. These modes are fast paced and will help you get better quickly due to the amount of 1v1s that you're actually getting into. Now once you build enough skill, you can use that positive self-talk from earlier to actually help you now. Building confidence would be the same way that you would do it with sports, except you're just applying it to a video game. So to summarize, confident self-talk is completely useless if you don't actually have the skill to back it up. So to build confidence, you would do it through experience and repetition. At the end of the day, it's just a game, so none of this really matters. Number 2, go for counter damage. Counter damage is the best way to quickly shift the fight back into your favor after taking a large amount of damage. But how do you actually safely get counter damage? You can use either pre-fires or edit baits, and when trying to get counter damage you have to make sure that you make space, because if you mess up and you don't have a box to fall back to, then you're just gonna die. Sometimes you really can't go for counter damage, especially if the person is playing really passive, so the best time to use it is when someone's over aggressive. To really get good at counter damage, watch pro players and see how they use it and then apply it to your game. Number 3, use baits. There are 3 different types of baits, which are pickaxe baits, edit baits, and regular baits. A scenario where you would use a pickaxe bait would be when you drop onto a stair on someone's box, and then swing your pickaxe as if you're going to hit the wall, but midway through the swing you pull out your shotgun so that when the person edits, you can have that shotgun ready to shoot them. A scenario where you would use an edit bait would be when you're face to face with someone with a wall in between you guys, and then you edit the wall, reset it immediately so that the person shoots the freshly resetted wall, then you hold the wall, then edit it again and shoot them finally. An example of a regular bait would be when you edit out of a box and fake like you're going left, but then quickly turn back and shoot the person that's following you. To get really good at baits and when to use them, you can watch a pro player like Peterbot, and as DJ calls him, he is the master baiter. Number 4, track opponents through builds. Lots of people forget to do this, but tracking opponents through builds means keeping your crosshair focused on your enemy's exact position even when they're behind build structures. And when you keep your crosshair focused on the other player, you can see how easy it is to predict what they're going to do next. And of course, this ties in with having good crosshair placement and making sure that your crosshair is head level at all times. Number 5, learn resource management. Resource management is knowing how and when you should use wood, brick, or metal during a game. This strategy ensures that you're not wasting any mats during a game. First, we need to understand that wood is the easiest material to get and also the weakest, but metal is the strongest and also the hardest to get. And brick is kind of an in-between. Wood should be used for temporary protection, and since it's the easiest material to get, you can afford to build more of it. You can use it when rotating to block off shots, but make sure you don't box up in it because bullets can bleed through, and when you build with wood, it's so easy for your walls to be taken. Brick should be used during mid-game box ups and positioning before endgame. It's good for protection without actually using metal. Basically, where you would use metal, use brick instead. But you should avoid using brick for temporary walls because that's just a waste. And finally, metal can be used if you're going to stay in a position for a long period of time, so longer than 2 minutes. But as a general rule of thumb, to use metal, you should only use it for critical moments such as almost dying or in endgame. Number 6, learn fundamental moves. These moves include 90s, sprint 90s, double edits, triple edits, edit downs, high walls, wifo cones, clicks 90s aka crossovers, and full boxes. Lots of newer and average players overlook this and try to learn flashy stuff first, but the truth is you don't need flashy stuff to win fights. Stick to basic moves because they use the least amount of mats and you would actually use them in game. And even though I didn't show demonstrations, don't worry because I have a mechanics series that you can check out after this video, and they go over each and every one of these moves and how to do them. Number 7, play piece control maps. A majority of your fights are going to be through close range, so playing piece control maps like piece control 1v1 or box fights, and even Raiders Mechanics Training Map V5 piece control tunnels are so good to use because it builds muscle memory, and getting repetitions with a whole bunch of different scenarios will help you to instinctively use piece control. And when doing piece control tunnels, make sure not to expose yourself on every peak. Also play Martel's turtle fights. Number 8, learn blueprint editing. Blueprint editing is when you pull out your blueprint and edit from a farther distance, as opposed to editing with your pickaxe or gun out and not being able to edit from far away. With blueprint editing, it's so much easier to make peaks while box fighting because you can edit a wall when you're behind a wall, so make sure to implement this when box fighting. Number 9, learn correct angles. It's pretty obvious that right hand peaks are the best peaks in Fortnite and ones that you should always use. But sometimes players mess it up and accidentally take a wrong edit. Even though it's a right hand peek, it doesn't work. Like for example right here, never set up on the left side of a box. Even though it's a right hand peek, your opponent still has a right hand peek on you and you can't even see them. Instead, set up on the right side, which will actually give you a good right hand peek. Even better, set up one layer above with a right hand peek and it'll make you impossible to fight. To learn the best angles, watch pro players because they're always on a right hand peek. Number 10, use edit on release. Using edit on release on or off both have its pros and cons, but if you're the type of player to make dumb 50-50s, then using edit on release off would be much better, because using it off builds edit discipline because you have to press more keys and you have to actually think about what edit you want to make before you make it, which in turn limits the amount of 50-50s you take. Once you get fast at that and you learn how to actually take good peeks, then that's when you can turn edit on release on so that you can become much faster. Number 11, have a good warm-up. A majority of you guys watching probably already have a warm-up, but if you haven't been playing good recently, then it's probably time to switch it up. But there are people out there who do warm up by only playing 1v1s with their friends, so don't do that. A good warm-up routine would work on your mechanics, your crosshair placement, your fighting, your game sense, and your piece control. And I do have a routine in my coaching server, link in description. Once you have a good routine, you can notice how good you play when you actually have a good routine that warms you up instead of having a bad one or none at all. Number 12, play the right maps. If you play the right maps, you get better faster, as opposed to mindlessly playing the game, which builds bad habits and wastes time. What happens when you mindlessly practice is that you repeat the same movements or patterns without intention, you stop noticing your mistakes or areas that need work, and you might feel like you're training but you're not actually getting results. And that's why you should actually use good practice maps, because they target specific skills. And no, 1v1 meme maps do not count as practice. Practice maps actually allows you to isolate weaknesses and actually work on them. You can measure your progress and you can see yourself getting faster or smoother, and you can actually stay focused. So with that being said, the best maps to play are Mechanics Training V5, Martos Turtle Fights, and 1v2 Clutch Realistics. Number 13, practice a new move every day. If you really struggle with certain moves and lose fights because of it, then you can take the time to spend 10 to 30 minutes practicing the move. Once you feel like you've mastered that, then move on to a new move. Then after that, just repeat and repeat every day until you learn a bunch of moves. If you don't know what moves to practice, then look up a pro's moves, or you can use the moves that I use in my mechanics drills. All these videos are on my channel. Number 14, practice in 120% speed. Practicing in this speed pushes your reaction time, mechanics, and focus past your normal limits, so that when you return to regular speed, the game feels smoother, slower, and easier. Think of it like training with ankle weights on and then taking them off. The best benefit of it all is that it sharpens your crosshair placement, and it builds muscle memory faster than you would with regular speed. And it also exposes small mistakes and forces you to fix it. To start practicing with this method, start slowly and add up the speed until you can actually build without any problems. Don't just jump straight to 150% speed, because that's just way too fast. Overall, this is one of the best ways to get out of the feeling that you're stuck or you're not improving. Number 15, work on your weaknesses but play with your strengths. First, you need to address your weaknesses because they become the holes in your gameplay. If you don't try to improve them well, then they hold you back. And if you have any lingering weaknesses, then you start to lose fights in specific situations. You start to avoid certain playstyles out of fear, which makes you predictable, and that's when you hit your skill plateaus. So to actually address your weaknesses, you need to identify your weak points, which can be aim, awareness, or panic building. And then you can dedicate 50% of your practice time to working on those areas. But even with practice, there are still real games to play, so that's why you should just play with your strengths. If you double down on what you're good at, then you can still win a majority of your fights. And playing to your strengths allows you to control how the fight goes. So if you're good at box fighting, then you can play close and force a box fight. If you have really good aim, then you can take more mid-range fights and avoid the close range fights. And obviously, once you improve your weaknesses, they become your strengths. Number 16, play against better players. When you play against players better than you, you're constantly challenged. You have to adapt, think faster, and play smarter, which doesn't happen when you win, because when you're always the best in the lobby, you're not actually improving, you're just maintaining. And that's why it's so important not to play against players who are worse than you, because you're not actually getting better. Basically, every time a better player outplays you, it's pretty much a free lesson, because you can see what you did wrong and what they did better, and then you can use what they used to put it into your game. And that feeling of nervousness and pressure that you feel when you play against players better than you is exactly what you need to actually improve. You're gonna mess up a lot, but it forces you to get better, and it builds muscle memory. The best way to find people who are better than you is through Discord servers, and you can also comment on this video and ask people to play with you. Number 17, use ranked cups as W key practice. Don't worry about trying to win the cup, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter and it's not a real tournament. Instead, W key everyone you see, because this is basically practice for a solo cash cup. And it's so much better than just playing regular ranked, because people actually like trying this. So make sure to use it to your advantage and don't skip them. Number 18, play a lot of ranked reload. Believe it or not, ranked reload is actually one of the best ways to get better at Fortnite. And that's because you get into so many fights, and more fights means more reps, which means more learning, which means actually getting better faster. And you'll see lots of pros playing ranked reload in their warm-up. Don't try to go for the win, but instead W key like in a ranked cup. And now is the time to actually implement some moves that you learn in creative. Number 19, watch pro players replays. This is VOD reviewing, but instead of looking at your gameplay, you're looking at a pro's gameplay. Watching the replay shows a bunch of different scenarios that show when, how, and why they do the stuff that they do. You see the real-time decision making, how they rotate and stay ahead of zone, when and why they take fights, and you pick up small tricks that you'd never think of. If you don't know what you're trying to look for in a pro's gameplay, then you can look at a breakdown made by Destiny's Jesus or Reese Hub. And I've also gone over Peterbot and Mud. does. Finally, number 20, try out coaching or courses. Getting a good coach can be a shortcut to getting better fast because coaches watch your gameplay from an outside perspective and spot things that you'd never notice about yourself. I currently have a coaching program that wastes no time and gives you the most amount of information in 1 hour. And after that, I create a personal training plan for you. I've had a couple clients and they've told me that they've seen improvement. There are other programs out there, but they are a little bit more expensive than what I offer. So check it out, link in the description. The alternatives to coaching are courses, and a program like Destiny's Fortnite Masterclass can help you improve from lessons made by pros. They go really in depth, so this might be the best value for you. And you can use code Mystics for $5 off. All links will be in the description. That's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and use code Mystics in the item shop to support me, and I'll see you in the next one.